I just quit a channel with 110,000 subscribers to start again from zero because I want to teach you how to do it as well. Today, I'm going to give you the exact 6-step system I'm using to grow content in 2025. Social media is about to change forever, and that means you're going to have to look at where the next set of opportunities may lie, and why I'm personally doubling down right here on YouTube. My name is Dave, and I've just quit a channel with 110,000 subscribers to start again from zero to show you that content is strategy and not luck. Most channels nowadays are chasing views and confusing their audience. AI is making publishing way easier, so feeds are getting noisier, the sameness is going up, but genuine connection is going down. And that means we're not trying to create content that just hacks the system. You want to create something repeatable that leverages organic growth and lets the matchmaker do its job over time. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear 6-step system that attracts the right viewers, increases your retention and click-through rate, and grows a channel that compounds over time. And if you can understand this one key concept that you need to create content for people and not for algorithms, everything downstream of that is going to compound over time. And that sets us up perfectly for step number 1 of why you shouldn't spray and pray with your content. YouTube is one of the last places you can build real trust, authority, and connection with your ideal audience. Most people treat content like target practice. They're just creating hundreds of videos hoping that something lands and then surprised when nothing really works. There are companies out there that do nothing besides create content all day, every day. So if you're adopting a spray and pray strategy and wondering why it's not working, well, it's because it's old school and it's a highly competitive market nowadays. And according to Google, 70% of viewers say that YouTube makes people more aware of the brands that they buy from. That's why it makes YouTube the best place to actually grow a channel that matters. I've lived this. When I started creating content on my previous channel, I was spraying and praying with random content, and it only really started picking up actual momentum when I locked in and solved the same problem for the same viewer over and over again. That's when I saw real growth that was compounding over time. Chances are pretty high that you're probably creating content for yourself or for your business. And at the end of the day, people don't buy from algorithms. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. And YouTube is where that trust is also going to compound the fastest. Because what AI is about to do in the content game is going to be pretty scary. You're going to be able to produce 10 highly optimized videos with one thought at the push of a button, right? Meaning all of our feeds are just going to become ram-packed with AI-generated content, and everything kind of might feel the same. But I don't know about you, when I'm scrolling through on social media and I see something AI-generated come up, I give it a skip. It feels like it lacks soul or nuance, if you will. But for me, where I see the gap is think about how you're consuming this video right now. There's something different about sitting down and having a real conversation, solving problems with someone, right? It's a little bit different to doom scrolling. Sometimes you might not even remember what you were doom scrolling with 10 minutes ago. I couldn't even tell you the last couple of videos that I was watching when I was doom scrolling online. But every time I sit down to watch a long form video like this, well, it lands with me because it resonates and it's problem solving. And that problem solving mindset is one of the most important things you can understand about content. When you adopt a spray and pray strategy approach and you solve one problem today and another problem tomorrow and another on the third day, well, the algorithm gets confused, and not only the algorithm, but your audience gets confused. They don't know what to expect when they're coming back to your channel. And if you want to grow, you have to solve the same problem for the same person over and over again. That's how you grow, because when you give the algorithm that consistency of saying, I solve this problem over and over and over again, well, it knows who to surface your video to over and over again. Be concise in your content and don't spray and pray. And here's an actionable takeaway you can use every single time you create a piece of content. Ask yourself, does this video solve a problem my viewer actually cares about? If yes, cool, post it. If no, dump it. You get the idea? And the fastest way to burn out and blend in is to spray and pray with your content. And the best way to stand out, well, that's solving one core problem over and over again for your ideal audience. This might sound like a contradiction, but it's not. Stop thinking about the algorithm as a mysterious machine, but rather start thinking about it as people. And at the end of the day, 70% of watch time on YouTube doesn't come from SEO, it comes from recommendations. That means that YouTube isn't ranking videos in some hidden vault somewhere. It's simply asking, who's this video for and who's most likely to watch? In other words, I guess that means your video doesn't live or die by SEO or keywords or titles. It lives or dies by somebody on the other side of the screen saying, yeah, I'd be interested in watching that. So don't design your content for the algorithm. Design it for people, the person on the other side of the screen, because when they come back and click and watch and binge your content, that's when YouTube really notices and it'll do the rest. Let me give you a quick analogy to better understand what I'm trying to say here, right? So let's think of YouTube as the middleman. And let's say you run a hypothetical dog food business. You want to promote your product, so you make a video. Do you take that video to the hardware store or to the dog park? Obviously, it's going to be the dog park, right? So you head on down to the dog park and you see 3 people there. You approach them and you say, hey guys, would you be interested in watching my video about my dog food? 2 of them say no, and 1 of them says, yeah, I'd be interested in watching. And they might even potentially buy from you. Congratulations, you just done the job of the algorithm, surfacing the right video to the right viewer at the right time. And that's essentially what YouTube does, but just at a much larger scale. So essentially, it's not about tricking the system, it's whether you've created content that provides actual value for people at the dog park, right? And if you had to think about it and flip the script a little bit, imagine you'd made a video that involved iguanas, cats, fish, the whole works, right? And you walked up to those people in the dog park and you try to show them and they weren't interested. Well, that's not an algorithm problem. That is a people problem. So here's the actionable takeaway for section 2. Every single time you create a video, title, description, etc., ask yourself, would that one person, one human being actually get value out of this piece of content and choose to watch it? Designed for a person, and the algorithm is going to find way more people like them automatically. At the end of the day, this is just a nice reminder that you're creating videos for people and not for robots. And if you're a person enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It means the world to me. I love making these videos for you guys. If you don't enjoy content marketing, please don't subscribe. It actually does me a disservice in the long run. Anyway, talking about people, let's look at one of the biggest mistakes that creators make, and that is chasing virality. Virality for the wrong audience is one of the quickest ways that you can tank your entire channel. All right, so on to section number 3, chase virality if you want to fail. Here's a pretty hard truth. Virality can be one of the quickest ways to kill your channel. And on the surface, all of those millions of views may sound like the dream, right? But if they come from the wrong audience, well, it's way worse than actually even going viral at all. Okay, so let's give you another analogy just to kind of round this example out. Let's use your pet food business from earlier, and now you're trying to make some sales. So you head on over to a pet expo, right? You arrive there with a banner that says best pet food in the business. You put it up outside your store, and the entire morning people are walking up from all walks of life, and it is so busy, right? And everybody in the other stores is going, wow, this person's got so many people at their store. How are they doing it? But in reality, you haven't made a single sale. Why? Because you're still selling dog food. All these people walking up are cat owners, maybe they own an iguana, a hedgehog, but they just saw your sign that says best pet food in the business, but you're still selling dog food, right? Now, that's exactly what happens with virality online. If you bring in the wrong audience for the wrong reasons, well, that doesn't mean anything. You're not going to make any sales or attract the right type of audience. There's a big misalignment between your audience and what you're trying to attract. All right, so here's your move for section number 3. Every single time you create a video, don't chase virality, chase alignment. Ask yourself, will this video attract the right viewers for the rest of my channel? Because at the end of the day, 10 perfectly aligned people are way better than 100,000 people who don't really care about your content or your platform. You want the people that are going to come back and binge your content. When those people start coming back, that's one of the best signals you can send to YouTube, and when your channel's really going to start compounding. And with that, the next key is also pretty simple. Repeat solving the same problem over and over again until you become an authority in your space. All right, so on to section number 4, repeat solving the same problem. If you actually want to grow on any content platform nowadays, here's the secret. Stop trying to be everything and solve one problem over and over again. Most creators think that variety is what keeps their channel interesting. So adding different types of content. So one day it could be a productivity hack, the next might be a food blog, and then they wonder why nothing compounds. At the end of the day, you don't grow for covering everything. You grow by being known for one thing. Just think about it for yourself. What are the channels that you binge? Every single time you go onto Instagram or YouTube, what kind of channels are you watching that you go back to? It's because they solve the same problem over and over again, maybe even from a different angle, but that's the thing that keeps you binging, not the variety. And this isn't just theory, this is basically YouTube needing to figure out exactly who your ideal audience is. Now, I'm not saying every single video has to be the same, but your overarching channel has to solve the same problem. For example, if you're wanting to grow on content marketing, well, that's exactly what this channel is about. I'm exploring it from every different angle, from every different nuance. Think about the channels that you binge. They're not random, they're consistent, right? Every single time you go on, there's a reason you go back because they're solving the same problem over and over again. This isn't just theory. The algorithms pay attention to everything, every view, click, like, watch time, and importantly, who comes back, because that starts giving them a better understanding of who your ideal audience is and how to find more of them. And at the end of the day, you don't grow by covering everything. You grow by being known for one thing. So let's give you a quick example. Imagine you were a personal trainer, right? So you make a piece of content. The first week is about weight loss. The next week is a cooking tutorial. And the third week is a cooking vlog, right? The algorithm and your audience is going to be pretty confused of what kind of content you're putting across. Now let's flip the switch. Imagine every single video you made was about building muscle with simple at-home routines, right? Your audience would know exactly what to expect and why they subscribed. At the end of the day, repetition isn't boring, it's branding. So here's what to do and the actionable takeaway for section number 4. Pick your core problem that your audience wants solved and make it the backbone of your channel. Make 20 to 30 videos exploring it from every different angle. Because at the end of the day, your audience isn't going to get tired of hearing it. They barely watch a fraction of your uploads anyway, right? But YouTube is going to love that clarity that you can provide, and it's going to reward you for that. Once you've picked your problem, well, the next step is about knowing where to show up. Because spreading yourself thin across 5 platforms, that's another way to stall your growth. Let's look at finding your digital dog park and where your ideal audience is hanging out in section 5 of Hangout at the Dog Park. Here's a question. If social media is free, how are these platforms making millions of dollars? Well, it's you. Your attention. You are the product. These companies sell your attention. Every single platform has one main goal: to keep viewers on their platform for as long as humanly possible. Because the more time they can keep you on the platform, the more ads you're going to see, the more money that platform is going to make. So they're incentivized to help you as long as your content helps them. At the end of the day, these platforms are all separate businesses, and they really don't like when a viewer goes from this platform to this platform because they're losing money on the amount of ads they can show that person, right? And this kind of begs the question, why do you want to manage 5 different platforms and try drive people from one to the other? Find where your ideal audience is hanging out, and then you want to double down there. Because essentially managing 5 different platforms is another full-time job over and above your current job, right? So instead of trying to work 5 different platforms with 5 times the workload, find one that works really well where your ideal audience is hanging out, put all your effort in there, and then you're not spread across 5 different platforms wondering why nothing's working. Instead of trying to be average on 5 platforms, pick one and own it. Pick your dog park, find where your ideal audience is already hanging out, and then double down and go hang out there. Let's think about it from a real world perspective, right? Let's use the dog food analogy we were talking about earlier. If you wanted to actually sell your dog food, do you go to the hardware store or to the dog park? Obviously, it's the dog park, right? And essentially, your efforts are going to compound a lot faster there. And that's what happens on social media. Essentially, people are trying to pitch their dog food at the hardware store most of the time. So figure out where your ideal audience is hanging out and then double your efforts down there. Your odds of connecting with them skyrocket. And for me, that place is YouTube. I firmly believe that entrepreneurs and founders are hanging out on YouTube because they're solving problems, improving themselves and their business. And that's exactly why I decided to stop juggling all the platforms and focus my efforts right here, because this is where I believe that I can provide the most value and make real connections. All right, so here's what to do and your actionable takeaway for section number 5. Audit your own behavior. How are you consuming content? You need to understand where your ideal audience is hanging out. Maybe you already have some customers that you could ask and say, well, hey guys, where are you actually consuming most of your content, to get a better idea of what kind of content they're engaging and what resonates with them. Then find your dog park and own it. Don't chase 5 different platforms. Pick one and let it compound. Yes, initially it might take a little bit of testing. You might have to put content out on all the platforms in order to figure out and iterate which platform is performing best and which one is actually bringing in leads and creating engagement and connection. All right, so on to section number 6, the AI takeover. AI is changing the content game forever, and if you're not ready for what's happening, you could get drowned in the flood. Right now, AI can already do a huge amount in the content process. It can help you edit videos, respond to comments, publish, get things up faster. It just streamlines your entire workflow, and that's pretty impressive, right? But in the next couple years, it's gonna get pretty wild. A lot of people are already reporting that they use AI in their content strategy to improve their performance and speed up their growth. But this also begs a pretty interesting thought process of, AI can help you create faster, but also might make it harder to stand out. And that's why I personally believe that long form content that's human first, like this right here on YouTube, is going to be one of the last things that might be on the other side of this AI content takeover. Let me paint you a quick picture, right? Imagine you can use AI tools to produce 10 highly optimized videos at the click of a button with one thought. But every single person has access to those tools. Fast forward here. Imagine every single feed is just filled with AI-generated content that has perfect hooks and bodies, all kind of looks the same. At first people might be impressed, but what happens? Maybe it starts to become like fast food where people love it in the beginning and slowly down the line, it just kind of becomes boring and repetitive. I believe that that might be where the next opportunity lies right here on YouTube, because this long form human first style content could be that 7-course meal that actually stands out and makes a difference, where people are just craving human connection instead of that fast, high-paced scroll all the time. At the end of the day, I'm placing a pretty big bet right here on YouTube because I believe that this is where you can foster real human connection. I've just quit my full-time engineering job to go into YouTube with 0 subscribers to teach you how to do it. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what the human connection side is about. And don't get me wrong, I still use AI tools every single day. It speeds up my workflow, helps me get my jobs done faster, edit quicker, but I don't know if it's going to be able to replicate this of me sitting here sharing my story with you, because if you've made it this far, clearly something has resonated with you and you've actually enjoyed it. And that's kind of why I believe that AI is going to be help you polish, but it doesn't replace human connection. Here's what to do and your actionable takeaway for section number 6. Leverage AI as a tool. Let it do the grunt work, but keep the soul of your content human. Share your story. Show your flaws and keep it personal, because that's what AI is not going to be able to replicate.
Because remember, you don't need more views, you need the right views. And if you really want to win on social media, well, you need to stop posting everywhere and understand what the best dating app is for your content. And I'll tell you in this video right over here.